Namaha. Mannatha Shri Jagannatha Madguru Shri Jagadguru Madatma Sarvabhutatma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Gurunirnadischa Guru Paramadaivalam Guru Parakaram Nasti Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tvameva Mata cha Pita Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Deva Deva. Om Spatikarajatarvarnam Mauktiki-makshamalam Amrutakalashavidyam Jnanamudram Karagre Lalatamurataksham Chandrachudan Kinetram Vidrutavividabhusham Dakshinamurti Vire. Om Namo Bhagavate Dakshinamurtaye Makhyam Shriyam Medham
Bhadram karnebhih shrinihyama devaah Bhadram pashyemakshabhiryajatraah Sthirairangaiः stuštuvamsastanubhih Vyashema devahitam yadayuh Swasti na indro vruddhashravah Swasti nः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः. So we are in the middle of this verse, which is talking about the various ways in which the creation takes place. Maybe I should share that. Where did that go? 1 second. Yes. Verse number 7. यथोर्णनाभिसृजते गृह्णते च यथा पृथिव्यामोषधयः सम्भवन्ति यथोर्णनाभिसृजते गृह्णते च यथा पृथिव्यामोषधयः सम्भवन्ति यथा सतः पुरुषात् केशलोमानि तथाक्षरात् सम्भवतीह विश्वम् यथा सतः पुरुषात् केशलोमानि तथाक्षरात् सम्भवतीह विश्वम्. So we have been looking at this one. Yatha urnanabhihi. Urnanabhihi means this, the spider. The woolly naveled one, as we saw. What happens? So it projects the web and then it takes back the web. Because when you try it, it's coming down with the help of its own juice, and which is in the form of this tantu, this small little string. And then you try to go and catch it, and then it retracts and then goes up using that same well. And so this is one example to show what is this we've already studied, but we are just what is that called, recapping it. This is to show abhinna nimitta upadana karanatvam. That is the traditional expression. Abhinna nimitta means that abhinna, non-different. Nimitta and upadana karanam are non-different, meaning they are one and the same. Nimitta karanam means the cause which is called the intelligent cause. I mean, intelligent cause doesn't mean much, but here the intelligence which is in the form of the cause, the intelligence that is behind creation, every aspect of creation, that is what is called nimitta karana. Then, of course, the creation needs raw material in the form of all the things that we see, sky, water, fire, five elements. Then all the elementals, bhutas, like trees and everything, and mountains, and what else? Animals, people, all these things. So this is so all that requires raw materials for the creation to come, and that raw material is called upadana kar. And in the jagat, in the world, when we look at something that is made, created, like even a simple pot or even a complicated microchip that goes into big computers that power the sky, like in the NASA computers, or some military intelligence computers. So those are all huge things, and so they will all be powered by this tiny microchip. And but that is all, that is the intelligent. There is intelligence there, whether it's a simple pot or a complex creation. There is you can sense the intelligence, or any of these new experiments they are making, artificial intelligence. So all this comes, in the world, we see this. We see examples of Ishvara's intelligence even in the day-to-day objects that we ourselves as a humanity have created. And but there is an important distinction here, because in whatever is created in the world, there is not abhinnatvam there. Abhinnatvam is not there, meaning the non-separation is not there. When you buy a pot, the potter doesn't come along with the pot. You don't buy the potter also. And the family, the spouse of the potter, the children of the potter, their dog, their cat, all of them doesn't come along. They don't come along. You just buy the pot, and then many times, especially in the capitalist system of production, there is a very big gap between the producer and the consumer. Between the karta and the bhokta, there is a very big gap. So the one who produces, you don't even know who they are. They are just anonymous bots. May as well be anonymous bots in the universe, because you don't know who they are. You have no idea who they are. Even as you have just bought their creation, you don't know who these bots are, and they are just anonymous beings, and sometimes they are all part of some assembly line in some country somewhere, where there are very low level, low ethics in terms of labor practices, and very low wages. So that's the company has shifted there. The production is happening there. And then in the assembly line kind of production, somebody stitches, somebody just cuts. So there is no ownership of that creation as well. That's why there is job dissatisfaction, because you're just doing, a truncated thing all day long. You're just producing one particular little bit of a fragment, which then, like in a stitching factory, somebody is just cutting pockets. That's their whole job. The whole day they are sitting and cutting pockets for the shirt. Another person is just stitching collars. Third person is attaching the sleeves. And the fourth person is doing the inspection and then making sure it's all finished off, the edges are all finished off nicely, and the stitches are not going to come apart, etc. And then just passing the inspection, making sure that each shirt passes the inspection. So there is no job satisfaction there because there is already a sense of alienation. The workers do not own the means of production, so there is already a sense of disconnection and alienation in capitalist societies, in Kali Yuga, etc. So then this is something which is interesting because when you buy the product, it is again an anonymous product. Very rarely, I mean, unless you're buying something fair trade, etc., then the person who dried your coffee beans, their name will be there on the packet. Personally picked by so and so, personally dried in the Amazonian sun by such and such a farmer. And these are all the, more recently we are having these kinds of movements where we are recognizing where the food comes from and where our artifacts and crafts and all come from. And that is a wonderful thing. But barring that, but it's still very rare. Barring that, and even then, the artist doesn't come home along with your kurta. The artist does not come and take up residence at your house. Thank God. You just know the name and it's still anonymous because you don't know who the person is. Even if a photo is there, you just say hello and that's it. And so anything that is made in the universe is got this also got this twofold twofold aspects of the creation. One is the intelligence behind the product, and then the raw material. Both those things are there in everything that is human made also. But in Ishvara's creation and in Jiva's creation, there is one big difference. In Jiva's creation, there is bhinnatvam. There is a separation between the intelligent cause and the raw material. The two are very, very different. The raw material is something that is operated upon and crafted or transformed in some way and then sold in the marketplace separately from the intelligence of the creator, the local creator here, whether it's the farmer or whether it's an artist, whatever it is. So this is a big difference. Whereas in Ishvara's creation, it's a package deal. So when you buy something, not buy, when you gain something in Ishvara's creation, Ishvara also comes along with the raw material. So there is that separation is not there. So nothing in this universe, therefore, is inert. It's all it's all very, very extremely, what is that called? Sentient. That sentience is passed along with the item that we are looking at, and that sentience and that intelligence inheres the thing in the universe. So if you talk of fire, so the fire has raw material, obviously, and then the fire also is an intelligent creation, and the intelligence behind the fire, the heat, the light, all this, that is the intelligence. And all that, and how it leaps from, it puts Hanumanji to shame, the way it leaps from one forest to another, the fire. And so, like this, the intelligence is also sensed in the fire. And the intelligence is not separate from the fire. Ishvara as the fire is present there along with the raw material called fire. Same thing, earth, same thing, space, etc. And this is very much talked about in the Taittiriya Shruti, Taittiriya Upanishad. And what is said over there is very, very telling. And what is said over there is that the Lord created, and having created everything, entered into that very creation. so that the creation is non-separate from the creator. The effect is the cause. Effect is non-separate from the cause, but the cause is not the effect. This is what we have to understand. So, tat srishtva tadevanupravishat tadanupravishya satchatyaccha bhavat niruptancha niruptancha nilayanancha nilayanancha vijnanancha vijnanancha. So, like this, the Taittiriya Shruti talks about this very, very nicely. And what does it say? It says that the presence of the Lord is palpable in everything in the universe, starting with the one who is looking for the presence. That person itself is non separate from Bhagavan. And so the Bhagavan's presence is very much there, unlike anything that is made in the universe, that is made of, made by human beings. There be, or even animals, like sometimes the animals will burrow and make some kind of designs, etc. Like the oyster makes the pearl, but then the pearl is separate, the pearl is separate from that, from that, what is that called? That clam. And then the pearl is separate, and then the clam shell is also separate. So this abhinna nimitta upadana karanatvam shows that they shows Advaita. Through this there is Advaita Siddhi that is being done. Advaita is Siddha, non-duality is Siddha, because there is only one thing and one thing alone. Ishvara cannot borrow to go and get the raw materials for the creation. Just like you borrow some flour in order to make some chapatis, you borrow from the neighbor. That Ishvara cannot afford to do. Why? Ishvara has no neighbor. There is no neighbor. All that is there is Bhagavan alone. So this is something which is very nice to assimilate, and also it gives way for that knowledge to settle in the heart. Because as you go about your day, you can look at whatever your eyes fall on, whatever object or aspect of Ishvara that your eyes fall on, you can look at that, and then you can say the presence of Ishvara is here. Ishvara is very much here in a very palpable form, in the form of all knowledge, all sentience, and that intelligence behind the creation. Ishvara is very much here. You can say that. That's just very, very nice. And so, this is the abhinna nimitta upadana karanatvam. So, it is abhinna, separate, non-bhinna. And then this is exactly how it is talked about. And then we have the spider example, which appears to defy what I just said, that there is a bhinnatvam, that there is separation. In the spider, it appears to be one and the same. The web seems to be manufactured by the spider alone, and it's got both the productive capacity and the retractive capacity as well, just like the Jagat is projected and retracted at the end of a kalpa, at the end of a long period of time. One kalpa is only 4.32 billion years. Okay, that's all. Yeah. After that, everything is retracted. Everything is taken back. Taken back means where? It's not that Bhagavan has a fridge where all the leftover Jagat is kept, okay, to kept in deep freeze or fridge. No, it's taken back unto itself. This Brahman takes it all back unto itself. And along with the pralaya, along with the pralaya means this retraction. And this retraction is important to understand certain aspects of this retraction. So when Ishvara takes back, Ishvaratvam also is taken back. Ishvaratvam means causality. The causality is imbued upon this Brahman, is superimposed, as it were. I don't like to use that word because super means you think it's above and supra, below, all these things. But still, I'll get away with it for this one time. So this projection is, as it were, superimposed upon Brahman, which is free of all projections. And along with this projection, a new thing also needs to be projected. What needs to be projected? The Ishvara-ness, Ishvara-hood. Ishvara doesn't need to be projected. Ishvara simply is. What is Ishvara? That Satchidanandam Brahma is Ishvara, and that is already understood, I hope. And then, then the projection, when we talk about, when everything has come, all the lakes and all the oceans and the rivers and the ponds, all bodies of water have come. The air is blowing over them, that has already come, and the fire has come. Space, of course, is there where all the creation is taking place. Time also is come, and then it is ticking madly. And then what else has come? Then all the beings have come from the earth. All the beings and all the Oshadhayaha means plants have come. Human being to destroy the creation has also come. Everything is here. And then what? Then the kalpa ends, and then so no wait before that. So everything is here. And if Ishvaratvam is not there, it cannot be sustained. It cannot even be projected. So Ishvaratvam means what? The status of overlordship, etc. That status should be there, because otherwise, without that overlordship, how can something be projected? Without a projector, that projector is the status of that being the projector is called Ishvaratvam. So how can everything be sustained without the sustainer? That role of the sustainer is called Ishvaratvam. And then how can everything be taken back without a taker backer? And that taker backer status is called Ishvaratva. This is Ishvaratvam, Ishvarahood. And that Ishvarahood also in Pralaya is there is a cessation of that status. Why? Because there is nothing to overlord. It's like the parents having empty nest syndrome. They can't wait for the children to move out. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? They are asking. The children have stopped asking that, but the parents are asking each other, are we there yet? Are we there yet? When are they going to move out? When are they going to move out? And this pandemic has been deadly because it's everybody has moved back in. All the grown people have moved back in, making the parents groan. That's why it's called grown people. People who make the parents groan because they are supposed to go lead their independent lives, but here they have moved back in, and then but let's say the time comes where the children take off from the nest. They fly away. They all fly away. They become old enough to have their own nests. They have their own life. They have their own karma. All these, they are on their way. And then what? Parents don't know what to do with themselves. They don't know what to do. The house is all empty. And of course, they have threatened the parents. Don't give my room to anybody else. Don't rent it on Airbnb. And this is the modern children have to think about all these things. Don't go inside unless, of course, you need to clean. And don't touch any of my things. This is my room. This is my things. And the so-called child is gone, leaving the room like that, along with all the memories and all these things. And then and the parents are, no longer parents in a way, because there is nobody to boss over. There's nobody to put a curfew and say, you young lady, you have to come back at this time. Young man, where were you at this such and such a time? There's nobody to say that, nobody to boss over, nobody to this thing. And that's exactly the status of Ishvara when the creation is taken back. There is no Ishvaratvam needed. No Ishvaratvam needed. Nothing is needed, because the whole Jagat has, at least in empty nest, the nest is there. But here, there is no nest even. Nest is also taken back. And the nestlings are also taken back. Nothing is there. Nothing is there except for Ishvara, without Ishvaratva. The crown that Ishvara wears also gets worn out in the process of this taking back. This is brilliant, very, very brilliant. And on the other side of Ishvaratvam, who is there? Jivatvam, Jivaness. Oh, there is a Jivatvam? Of course there is. So what is this Jivatvam? A lot of complaints, unending and a lot of complaints is Jivat. Jivatvam means complaints, complaints, complaints. And then when you think you have done more complaints, that is Jivahood. And this is how you recognize a jiva. How do you recognize what makes a jiva a jiva? Discontent, non-appreciation, self-judgment and judgment of the entire universe, including the creator of the universe. Entitlement and demanding nature. This is also jivatva. I have right over this. I deserve this. Who said you deserve this? What about the other 7 billion people, 7.8 billion people on the earth? What about all of them? No, I deserve it. Let them all, take care of themselves. I don't care about all of them. I deserve this. The entitled mentality in this kind of flag planting mentality. Wherever you go, you take one dvaja and then you plant it. Even the moon is not spared, the Mars planet is not spared. You go anywhere and you leave just a terribly huge, irresponsible footprint of your presence. A disturbing presence. This is Jivatvam. This is Jivatvam. And this Jivatvam, when everything is taken back, along with Ishvaratvam, the complaints are also taken back. Along with all power, all might, and the ability to overlord the universe and all knowledge, everything is taken. The knowledge manifest as a potential. Hiranyagarbha is taken back, and then along with that, Jivatvam, the complaints are taken back. The Jiva is, of course, relieved. Probably Ishvara is more relieved. And so the Jiva for the first time is sleeping a long sleep, not the 8-hour sleep. In 8-hour sleep also there is a kind of a baby pralaya. There is a tiny pralaya every night when you go to sleep, because again, Jivatvam is taken back. There is no complaints at all. Not only you don't have complaints, the other people also don't have complaints about you because you are finally sleeping. They are happy that you are sleeping. So no complaints in sleep, no complaints at all, no judgment of yourself or another. That's why one can drool in sleep, because there is no self-judgment. One can let the jaw slacken and sleep with the mouth open, and let the body be splayed in any direction. No problem, because there is no self-judgment. There is not the feeling, oh, how am I going to look in sleep? So maybe I should arrange it just like in the movies. In the movies, when the hero or the heroine sleeps, not a little fold in the cloth is out of place. And they are lightly sleeping with all the makeup and everything. That's not the kind of sleep that most of the jivas undergo. Sleep means one is free enough to kick the person next to you, free enough to just, kick them off the bed, no problem. And you can just say, I didn't know what I was doing later on. And free enough to just not worry whether the hair is disheveled, whether I look my best, what am I wearing, and whether the pajamas are all crumpled, no istri, no iron, and then whether the clothes are all in gathered in a bunch, no such thing. So in sleep also there are no complaints. And then if you multiply sleep into 4.32 billion years, which is the length of the pralaya, after each kalpa the pralaya is of equal length. So it is a 4.32 billion year sleep. No complaints at all. This is the whole cycle. And then in this projection, in the first line of this mantra, that yatha urnanabhihi srijate grinhate cha, we have this the single entity called Ishvara, who is Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karanam. who is the intelligent cause, what we call the intelligence behind the creation, who is also the law, who is also the raw material. From the standpoint of the raw material, we say Bhagavati. From the standpoint of that sentience, that knowledge, we say Bhagavan. The two are one. There is no gradation. Oh, and then, we find all these nonsensical ideas because of the wrong understanding and because of the fear, actually. Maya is people are afraid of Maya. And so there are all these mechanisms, supposedly. And then you find this out, people acting out of ignorance and then describing Maya as a terrible woman. Maya is not a woman. Maya is Shakti. The word Maya happens to be feminine. Maya is not a woman. Ishvara is not a man. Okay, that this we have to just get out of this kind of a thinking. Maya is Shakti. The word happens to be feminine. And creation is associated with feminine. So, from our standpoint, for Sukha Pratipatti, meaning for ease of understanding, Maya is like a mother, or the one who is in the form of the raw material. That is what is talked about. So, and then the other popular imagination is that, oh, the raw material will run wild. Therefore, Ishvara has to control the raw material and man has to control woman. I mean, this is all, I don't know where these people have been. Really, wake up. This is again a wrong understanding. Ishvara is not controlling Maya. Maya, in fact, is Ishvara, non-separate from Ishvara. That's why all the depictions of Bhagavan in our tradition are all happily married. That's why they are inseparable. Even Ganesha, who is supposed to be a Nitya Brahmachari, has Riddhi and Siddhi depicted as his consorts. So therefore, it is not that one is superior and one has to control the other. One is inert, one is sentient. This is for the sake of assimilation. This is not, you don't say, oh, the male, I have read some of these things, which boils the blood. And some of these paperback Vedanta, the male principle has to, what is that, has to dominate the female principle. This is all wrong understanding. The Upanishad does not say this at all. Anywhere you see, the Upanishad does not say this at all. There is a synergy. And then this whole fear, oh, if you don't control Maya, she will run away. She will run away and do terrible things. How can she do terrible things? If Maya is the raw material, then the raw material is naturally, what is that? Is naturally being acted upon. And that, by another aspect of the same Maya. Maya as the raw material, yes, but Maya Shakti, which makes Ishvara, is what is being acting upon this raw material in order to make it something. So it is that Maya acting upon itself. It's not some male principle, feminine principle, etc. This kind of thing is only in popular imagination. It is not sanctioned by the Shastra and does not give the right to look upon everything feminine as deficient or inert. No. And so here it is a dance. If Lord Shiva has Tandava, then the Shakti has also a dance called Lasya. It's a wonderful synergy where they are step in step. If you want to look at them in an animated form, they are step in step with one another. There is no superior, there is no inferior, simply because they are one. Abhin, that's what is meant by abhinna nimitta upadana karanatvam. It's abhinna, means it is non-separate, it is one. And out of this oneness, ensues this whole universe of the manifest reality of various forms, names, words, meanings. Just very, very fascinating, very, very beautiful. Let us look at the next lines. The text, I'll put the text back up. Then we have the next line, Yatha Prithivyam Oshadhayah Sambhavanti. Sambhavanti, they are born. Nicely born without any problem. No breech birth, no cesarean section, nothing like that. They are nicely and effortlessly they come into existence. What? The Oshadhayaha. Oshadhayaha means various kinds of plants, Oshadhi plants. So this Oshadhayaha yatha sambhavanti. Yatha, just as. How do they sambhavanti? From where do they sambhavanti? Prithivyam. From the earth. In the earth, just like one earth gives rise to so many kinds of oshadhis. Oshadhis means the various kinds of plants. So many plants. And this is something very, very nice because this answers the question. It's a simple example. I mean, everybody has seen plants come out of the earth. That's not a big deal. But the big deal here is that the out of one earth, you see many, 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 many kinds of plants. You see carnivorous plants that literally burp after having a spider for food. They make a burping sound. And then you have this, what is that called? Corpse plant, corpse flower plant. Somewhere it grows in Thailand, and once in about 4 5 years, which is a huge flower. And that flower is taking up at least, half a square mile. Huge flower. And then, as you know, it's a big flower, very fleshy kind of a flower. And as it rots, it creates this terrible stench where people cannot leave their homes until it is all biodegraded and until it has gone back to the earth. So, from that same earth, all kinds of things. If you go to any botanical gardens, you see, they have little specimens from all around the world. So you can get to see different kinds of flora, and then you see you're surprised. So the whole desert region, it's not just one cactus. There are so many different kinds of succulent vegetation. And then you go to the tropical like rainforest, and there is a different ecosystem. Then you go to some other place, there is some other kind of, then you go to the hills, and then there is a temperate ecosystem. Some trees shed, some trees don't shed. Like this, there is amazing variety, amazing varieties of plants coming from one earth. Unlike, unlike the human beings will only give birth to a human child. Of course, the parents may say, "You look like a monkey. Don't act like a monkey," they may say, but still it's a human child. It's not some, it's not a puppy dog or something like that. Even though in the Puranas there are certain stories, some queen gave birth to puppies like this, I remember. But that's just some mythology. But really speaking, this is, there is just a kind of a monoculture when we talk about the process of creation in terms of animals and etc. etc. With plants, there is a little more, you can do hybrid things. So you can create a pluot, a confused fruit. What is pluot? It's half plum, plu, and other half apricot, ot. Okay, so it's a pluot. And then the taste buds are confused, the fruit is confused, the tree also is perhaps a little confused, but then Ishvara's creation allows for the pluot to be there. So no problem. So like this, there are certain other combinations possible. And perhaps through cloning also we can imitate what the earth is doing naturally during the course of our as science evolves. Perhaps we can do that, but right now we see the earth, the same one earth, give rise to all kinds of vegetation. This itself is a metaphor and example to show how the one Ishvara brings forth all kinds of species, various kinds of species. And so many things. And you don't know what is the use of them. And they are there. They have a purpose. You don't know the purpose, but they are there. Jellyfish, completely transparent. And it just keeps going like this, totally transparent. You can see all its organs. You don't even need an X-ray machine. Without the X-ray machine, you can see everything that's going on in there. Perhaps the person had transparency issues in the previous life. That is why that jellyfish karma is there, perhaps. Next time, everybody can see you fully through and through. And so, jellyfish, what is the purpose? It has a purpose. There is a purpose. You may not know its purpose. Another one, it looks like a airplane, but it is like a small, funny looking airplane, but actually it is in the water. Stingray, the electric fish. It just goes between your legs when you're wading sometimes because of all this climate change and everything. They're coming closer and closer to the shore. So all these kinds of, if you look at the aquatic animals itself, there is so much variety, and they are, discovering new species every day. The deep sea has not yet been completely plumbed for all these new creatures. And sometimes, there is some storm or something like that, and the earth, there is a tsunami, and then the shifting of the tectonic plates, coughs up one of these deep sea creatures on the shore sometimes, and then they are able to understand, oh, this is what it looks like, this is what it is. And so, like this, there are so many, these just aquatic animals. Then you look at birds. Oh my God, so many kinds of birds. And then you look at reptiles. I don't want to, if you say, but still, doesn't matter. Look at them, at least in the pictures, National Geographic, and then you find all kinds of reptiles, creepy crawlies, insects, so many things. One Ishvara, that one sentient presence, which is all knowledge, which has created all this. Just like, and we have a local example, just like the earth has created various forms of vegetation. Then what else do we have? So yeah, so that's the second example. The third example, yatha sataf purushat. Satah means, satah also is in fifth case. Purushat means alive. From the alive human being, Purusha, what happens? Kesha. Kesha means hair on the head. Loma. Loma means body hair. So Kesha Lomani, the hair on the head and body hair. Like even human beings have a kind of fur. Okay, so that fur is called loma, whether it happens in a human being or in animals, loma. And then tatha, in the same manner, just like the spider has created its own web, just like out of the earth have come many kinds of vegetation, just like out of a live Purusha, a live person, we have hair and body hair and head hair. Tatha, in the same manner, so too Aksharat, from this Akshara, Aksharam Brahma, this Brahman that is unchanging, that is ever present, eternal, limitless. From this limitless Brahman, Sambhavati is born, Iha Vishwam. This world is born in the same way. And so the third example is, you might wonder why. Why are we talking about the hair on the head? To this, we can add also nails. So, shikha, hair, and nakha. Shikha and nakha. Very interesting. Because see, out of the sentient person, Sataf Purushat, insentient things have come, like Shikha and Nakha. And in South India, especially in Orthodox South India, we have a strange relationship to hair and nails. As long as the hair is on the head, then there is no problem with it. You don't mind touching it. Other people can touch it. You can touch your own head, etc. And then, as long as the nails are there at the end of the tips of the fingers, then also there is no problem. You can paint it. You can use it for opening tins and jars. No problem at all. But the moment it is cut, the people run away, far away from it. It becomes insentient. It becomes a pollutant. These are all pollutants. Hair, nails, etc. That's why we have a we have a saying Swasthane vishishyante. These things are very much in place. Swasthane vishishyante. These things are appropriate when they occupy their own place. Raja, Nakha, and Shikha. So the hair on the head and the nails, and of course the king. So the king in his own kingdom, he is the Raja. Everybody adores him and then pays respect. Raja, Dhiraj, Maharaj, aa rahe hain. There is a bugle and trumpet and all kinds of fanfare and paraphernalia. And he belongs there. There is a purpose there. But let's say he goes and settles down in some other kingdom, they won't even know who he is. And he's seen as an irritant. And even if he goes as a guest, few days is okay. After that, he becomes a pest. It doesn't take long for the guest to become a pest. So this way, there is a saying. So the nail is better on the edges of the fingers rather than just cut nails somewhere. The hair is the hair occupies a wonderful place of beauty as long as it's on the head, and the Raja also is in place in his own kingdom, not anywhere else. This is the saying. And so so when you go to a barber's shop or a parlor or whatever you call them, where you go to cut the hair, nobody comes out screaming. And then you don't need some painkiller before you go because you're going for some kind of an operation. Why? Because it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. Of course, if you pull the hair out from the roots, it's a different matter because it is attached to the skin there. But the edges, when you trim, when you get a haircut, it does not hurt. Nobody is yelling in the barber's shop and screaming and wailing. Same thing with the nails. And so this example is important because how one can ask, Ishvara is sentient, yes or no? Of course, yes. Ishvara is all knowledge and it's a sentient being, we always say. So how come? So sentient being should only produce sentient things. Where is the rule like that? But this is from a human mind. Sentient being means you should only produce sentient things. Just like the human being can only have human children, sentient being should only have sentient things. How come the sentient being gives rise to insentient things? This is the question arising from an insentient person, perhaps somebody who is ignorant. Okay, this is a strange question, but then that's how people are. People say, okay, there is a big, you yourself say in Vedanta that Atma is something which is very different from Anatma. So out of the Ishvara, all sentient beings come, okay, I'm ready to accept that. But how come insentient things have also come, like rocks, rivers, mountains? These are all insentient things. And then how come they have come? And so therefore, this is not proper. And then if you are a logician, you will bring an insentient Ishvara to be the creator of insentient things. They do that. And so they'll say many Ishvaras are there. One to create sentient things, another to create insentient things. It's all nonsense. The vision of the Upanishad is very, very clear. Ekameva dvitiyam aksharam. So this aksharam Brahma, this Ishvara, one and one alone. And what does this one Ishvara do? Is the creator of everything that is sentient and insentient. And in fact, this sentient, insentient is a distinction that we have imposed upon the creation. From the standpoint of the creation, everything is alive. Everything is Satchidananda. Then what's the difference between you and a mountain? The difference between you and the mountain is that the mountain cannot express itself and say, please don't climb me. Everest cannot say that. And Everest cannot say, please take away all this trash that you are leaving at the base camp and at my feet. And wherever you are climbing, you're just leaving a mountain of trash. Everest cannot say that. Why? Sukshma Sharira Abhavat. Because there is the absence of the Sukshma Sharira. Sukshma Sharira means, what is that? Subtle body. The subtle body is not there. The subtle body is the carrier of the sentience. And so the subtle body not being there, therefore the mountain cannot tell you, to go home. The mountain cannot tell you to find another vacation spot, find another selfie spot. It cannot tell you to do that. It cannot tell you, hey, I'm full of cliffs, I'm dangerous, don't come to the edge, go, go, go. It cannot tell you that. And so that's the only difference. The difference is from the standpoint of the subtle body, but otherwise everything has Satchidananda. And when you talk of Chit, in that Satchidananda compound, when you talk of Chit, the middle one, that is sentience. And so this is only from the local standpoint, from the empirical standpoint, we make this distinction, because Atma and Anatma are confused. Anatma is confused for Atma. So in the beginning of the quest, Vedanta 101, we make this distinction. After that, it's all one. So this is this particular verse. And if this has been assimilated, we can go to the next one. Because this verse is very interesting, because the purpose of this verse is to show that the creation has come in a very orderly fashion, that there is nothing random about this creation. There is no randomness. And this is very important, because sometimes people think that, oh, this is just a random happening. There is nothing random. There are no coincidences. There's only incidences whose meaning one does not know. And so here, this verse talks about how the creation has come in an orderly fashion out of that intelligence which is Bhagavan, and how it has proceeded stage by stage. Because anything that is created is stage by stage alone, like even a baby. You don't say, I want a baby, and then it comes the very next day. No, there is a gestation period, there is a waiting period, and you have to patiently wait, and then it will come. And so that is how this verse unfolds the creation. Oh, one more thing in this, Sambhavati ha Vishwam. Vishwam means universe. That one I had omitted to say. So Vishwam means this universe has come from the Akshara. Okay. So now this next one. Tapasa chiyate brahma tatonnam abhijayate annat prano manas satyam lokah karma suchamritam. Tapasa chiyate brahma tatonnam abhijayate annat prano manas satyam lokah karma suchamritam. Tapasa Brahma Chiyate. Chiyate means expands. Chayanam, Upachayanam takes place. A kind of an expansion takes place. For whom? Brahman. How does this expansion take place? Tapasa. Oh, Brahman sits in meditation. Tapas? No, no, no. Oh, so tapasa means Brahman eats a lot of Spanish snacks. They are called tapas. First, when I came to this country for the first time, somebody took me somewhere, and I still remember. And I was just looking fascinated, looking from the car, looking on the shops on the left side and the right side. And then there was one place which said Tapas Bar. And I looked at that and I got very excited. I thought it was a place where everybody goes, like a meditation hut or something, where everybody goes to do tapas. No, no, no. I was told this is a place where you get some kind of a Spanish appetizers, also called tapas. So they have tapas bar, tapas plate. So in the context, you can think tapasa chiyate Brahman. Brahman had a lot of tapas, Spanish snacks, and then became big. Chiyate means became big. No, tapas here is jnana, that knowledge. The knowledge which is with Ishvara undergoes a process of differentiation. The knowledge that is Ishvara quickens in the sense, just like the baby quickens in the mother's womb, and and expands, grows. So that knowledge is already limitless, but how can it grow? It as though grows in a particular direction, it expands to include the information from the previous cycle of creation. And Ishvara herself grows to include the Maya Shakti, and there is a kind of a stirring. Nothing has come yet, but there is a stirring of Hiranyagarbha. There is a latent possibility, and that possibility is what makes Brahman big. Brahman becomes big. There is a dilation. And Adi Shankara, commenting on this, gives a very nice example. And so, just like the mother to be who is carrying the baby dilates, she literally dilates. The stomach becomes big. But the father also dilates, the father to be, seeing the baby grow in the womb, is all smiles. The heart becomes big with happiness, pride, with oh, this, I'm going to have a child, that kind of a joy. So Adi Shankara talks about this. So just like that, and then just like he gives another example, just like when you put a seed in the water to sprout, that also dilates. As it sprouts, it dilates, it becomes big. And this bigness is nothing but the upadana nimitta karanam coming together in a subtle form. In a very, very subtle form, this thing happens. And we see this all over creation. It expands. Then you add some yeast, some leavening agent to the flour, and then you nicely knead the dough and keep it in a warm spot covered. And you come back after 20 minutes, it has grown, it has expanded. And then you can put it in the oven, make your bread. And so like this, this is the expansion. The expansion is to include the abhinna nimitta upadana karanatvam in one place. And the jivas are kicking and saying, perhaps they need a new home, they need a new kalpa, they need a new jagat. Why do they need a new jagat? Because the discontentment is also rising. The discontentment is growing and making Brahman fat, before it is completely expressed. So Brahman becomes fat. And then, like the Christmas goose, Brahman becomes fat. And then, fat with what? Fat with knowledge, fat with possibilities, fat with the plan of creation. So the Ishvaratvam is coming to be, so to speak. It is coming to a place of manifestation from demanifestation. Along with that, all the complaints, because now there is someone to complain to. The Jivatvam is also rising its ignorant head, and it is also coming to a place of expansion. And so nothing is on the surface yet. Just like the gestation period of the baby, it is all just happening within. It's all just within. And then, after that, one by one, all the things come out. Tataha annam abhijayate. Annam means don't take it as food. It is not food. It is the causal body. The subtle and the causal body is the causal body has come. Causal body, we'll see next time what it all means. We'll just translate it now. So the causal body has come. The samashti, the samashti means the individual, the total knowledge, the total causal body, the causal world has come, and the total ignorance, etc. All this we'll see. Then from that causal body, prana, the samashti prana, the total prana in the form of Ishvara, in the form of that the 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 science, the knowledge that controls the prana. That knowledge has come, And then out of that manaha, again samashti manaha, the total mind has come. The mind with all its capacities and everything has come. Then satyam. Satyam here means not satyam jnanam anantam brahma, but satyam means that which has form. We have two words in the tradition, sat and tyat. Sat means that which has form, tyat means that which doesn't have form. In the mantra that I quoted earlier in the beginning, at the beginning of the class from the Taittiriya Upanishad, there is an expression, Sat Chatyacha Bhavat. What is this tyach? No, it is tyat cha. Sat cha tyat cha. Tyat means amurta, without form. Sat means murta, which is with form. So then all the things with form came, without form came, lokaha, all the 14 lokas. We have 14 kinds of named lokas, parallel universes, and then they are called 7 up, 7 down. 7 up are those which are pleasant to experience, 7 down, not very nice to experience. And then out of the lokas, and what is not mentioned is people with their karmas, jivas with their karmas, and they are called amrita karma. Why are they called amritam karma? Amrita because they amritam karma they are called because the karma phalas never ever come to an end except by atma jnana. So you can only override karma with the help of Atmajnanam. So that which never comes to an end, avashyam bhavitvat, as long as one is mired in ignorance, it is called here as, what is that, Amrita. Because the fruits have to be experienced even maybe in the next kalpa, but they will come back. So that's why it is called Amrita. More we'll see, not the next week, which is the 30th, but the first weekend in August, the first Sunday in August, 6th or 7th, something it'll be. So we'll see, we'll have this class then. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.